Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time for updated Best Director and Screenplay predictions. We're splitting up the predictions video. Other videos will be posted soon. Other videos have already been posted. Best Director, we got Spielberg out front. Do you think he's gonna win? He's got a pretty good shot. I think that's real.
Yeah.
I think that's real.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we just said, where your movie's very well liked, and then if you fall short of the big prize, you still land the director nomination.
Yeah, there's a lot of narrative
'Cause your
behind
movie
it
is
too.
you.
And if the whole thing about the Fabelmans is rewarding Spielberg, well, here's where you can do that. I guess you could also do it in Screenplay, but here's where you can do it.
It's not his best directed movie either. It's not quite like
It has
A Power of the Dog, or I don't know what else.
It has close to the acclaim of anything else that he's done in his recent works, and possibly people liking it the most. Damien Chazelle, that movie will also probably get 10 nominations, and it is going to be really showy work. Probably a contender to win some techs.
Yeah,
so
I can't help but think that one's just a little late to the game. But at the same time, 1917 did come out very late, and then that started winning director, and we went, oh shit, we weren't planning for this.
And The Revenant, The Revenant won director.
Yeah.
And
if this one's insane, if it's insane and it's winning cinematography, they could win director.
And then Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
They should win director, but I'm just really hoping that they don't get snubbed.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a visionary.
I can't help but be more concerned that they're just gonna get snubbed, and that I'll just feel safe.
I'll
if they
tell
get
you
nominated.
this. I think they're gonna get Critics' Choice. I think they're gonna get DGA. I feel good about those. BAFTA, I don't know, and I don't know if I care or not. And
I think they could get Golden Globe too.
they could get Golden Globe because people always doubt Emerald Fennell's not gonna get it, George Miller's not gonna get it, Wes Anderson's not gonna get it, and those directors do get it. But they also didn't. The Golden Globes also did not nominate Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig and Lia Isaac-Chung. Sometimes that stuff doesn't work out, but I don't know where Everything Everywhere fits in.
The Globes, what if they snub Todd Field? They're gonna leave in Polly. They're gonna
No, they'll
Polly.
Todd Field. Part of me thought what if he's in contention to win director? Because that could be the critics' number one, and often those movies might be the front runners, like Power of the Dog and Roma or something.
For a while, I was thinking Todd Field might be the most likely to get nominated, as in just not the guy who's going to get snubbed nomination morning.
Spielberg's not going to get snubbed either.
I know. The director's branch feels like they're going to go for Mr. Field here because he did a lot for Tar. It just feels like a masterwork.
There is an annoying chance, though I agree that they could snub Daniels, even if Daniels are getting all the nominations they need.
Right.
Sarah Polley, Women Talking. I mean, again, it's if this is a number 6 or a 7, I'm kind of wondering if it is, then honestly, I think she is pretty vulnerable in that case. And I think you could have a McDonough or a Park Chan-wook or maybe an Ostland.
I feel probably most people would consider her a vulnerable director pick.
Some people will think oh, well, we're done with the days where they didn't have any women in the lineup. And it's they would maybe not have a woman in the lineup at a certain year under certain circumstances. If you think about all the women who have been nominated, they really did have top 3 contenders or top 3 or 4. So I'm saying if Women Talking's a number 7, for example, Little Women, then they could not nominate her.
It's not over. Those days aren't necessarily over.
But this also does feel a moment for Sarah Polley's career. It's more ambitious than anything she's done, and she's really getting her flowers. She's gonna get a lot of nominations. She's gonna make probably Golden Globe, Critics' Choice. I'm thinking if she doesn't get DGA, that's the red flag. And I, for some reason, think that could not work out for her.
Marriage Story, kind of, where
Marriage
Story, we kind of had this mirage, it was maybe a top contender, and then just slowly kind of went down, and I was oh shit, it's actually missing director.
Yeah, that sucked a lot. That easily director over Todd Phillips. What the fuck? McDonough.
Joker was well directed though.
But Marriage Story was well directed.
That was a pretty good director lineup.
It could have been better. They could have put Celine Sciamma and McDonough though. We had that at number 3 for picture.
Yeah,
we have this movie getting a lot of nominations. And
I could see that happening.
Yeah, because this is the movie that he's...
Put it this way. He's not going to get no nominations. That movie's not going to go through award season and not get nominated for director anywhere. And I don't just mean a Critics' Choice where they have an extra slot. He's going to get, maybe Golden Globe, maybe DGA, maybe BAFTA. He has a great shot for all of those. So
you do wonder if he could be number 5 and Sarah Polley could be number 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't say that is bad.
I feel like Banshees is a more like respected work than Three Billboards. Three Billboards might be a little bit more of a movie for the crowd, like a little bit.
I would even say that I liked Three Billboards a little more. And this is I just think it's a better directed film.
When you take into account how competitive the race is, I do consider how the director's branch could snub like Chazelle or Daniels or something crazy to fit all these people in. I mean, McDonough's like
go for it, man. I'm gonna say go for it. Like, why not?
You really think you want to put him over Polly?
I think why not? It's just number 5 and 6. It's not like you can't come back from it.
I like kind of agree they would maybe nominate McDonough. I don't know if the color palette thing and women talking matters. It's a visual choice that a lot of people feel polarized on, and I feel like that does matter when you're taking into account like the director award.
But it's nice to shake it up a little bit, or else it feels too safe, and it's never just the safe thing, is it?
Park Chan-wook though, like that's still possible, and the Cannes Director Award, Paul Palakowski for Cold War.
Yeah, this could definitely happen. I think
Bennett Miller and Foxcatcher. Sometimes they do that shit. Okay, they have that same taste.
And Decision to Leave could be that movie that doesn't score in the precursor awards, but then scores big at the Oscars with picture and director, maybe.
Or it could just get director. Because that movie, I mean, Park Chan-wook, it feels like it could be his time. And also that movie is just so fucking meticulously crafted. Yeah. Like, he's probably going to get a BAFTA nomination. And then that will just raise big, like, what if questions for everybody, thinking that he could be that surprise. Ruben Östlund, Triangle of Sadness. Again, if he got the BAFTA nomination, you would have to raise an eyebrow a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit too much of a comedy. It's still very auteur-y,
Yeah.
So that could still happen. I still think that's a good shot.
I'd like it to happen. I mean, again, it depends how much of a lock Triangle of Sadness is.
Or does it? Because I feel like
that's actually, no, you're right. It doesn't.
Kind of a chance to just make it in there. Edward Berger, I'm not convinced, as some others are, that he's an international contender. James Cameron for Avatar, if that movie's in picture, we think maybe he sits out director this time. It's a little bit weird to say, but it could happen.
Even if he gets it in precursors, I think he might be the snub at the Oscars.
A very good example for that, and it's called The Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson wasn't nominated for the second one, correct?
Also Denis Villeneuve for Dune. Maybe they're just hostile towards directors who do visual effects.
I mean, they're not.
They're not, because Cuarón for Gravity.
Ang Lee won for Life of Pi. What if Darren Aronofsky ends up getting like DGA for The Whale?
Nah, I don't even think he would.
Okay.
I don't even think so.
What about Joseph Kosinski getting DGA for Top Gun Maverick?
Maybe.
What about Guillermo del Toro for Pinocchio?
Nah.
But like, you watch that movie and you're like, the work of a visionary. And also just like the with a stop motion film, when you look at the craft and the directing, you're like, every frame.
But that's not...
He's doing the production design and like all the shit that Del Toro does, like What If.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to separate him from from that craft. Like, that craft is its own thing.
Like the animation team?
It's not like, whoa, this was stop motion. That's amazing. Guillermo del Toro, did the stop motion. You don't give someone director for doing stop motion. You give them director for making it a certain way and giving it a tone and all that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But like doing it through the art of stuff, I don't know.
I don't think that gives him a boost, is what I'm saying. You don't get a boost for being like, wow, and he did all that with stop motion, and he did all that in an animated movie. Like, no, I think you get the props for doing live action only. Like, that's
I think that because they filmed it with a camera, that it does give an advantage over if it were a computer animated movie.
Like, I think more so, sure, but I don't think you can say it's an advantage over a live action movie.
I do think it's an interesting idea to float, though, like that he could get nominated for Pinocchio.
Because again,
I don't think it'll happen.
Because again, directing, it's probably very different because you're not directing actors. You're just directing like the way that puppets move and stuff. So it might be a harder.
Yeah, but it's still like the work of a visionary, and people say that like every minute of Pinocchio is like, wow.
We'll see.
Inarritu for Bardo, do you think that there's any shot that the director's branch is like, hey, we still like you? You're still our guy.
Maybe, but probably not.
I think it just doesn't have the acclaim. Like, I really feel like a movie like that needs to have more critical acclaim, and you can't have like a literal 50 on Rotten Tomatoes.
The other problem with Bardo is like, I could see it making Inarritu a little unlikable for some people. And then, him being the face of the movie, and people might not feel like they want to vote for him because he doesn't make himself necessarily likable when he portrays himself as this person in this film. Even though I think that's unfair. Like, he's being very vulnerable, and that's why you don't necessarily like him. So good job, but
Charlotte Wells for After Sun.
That'd be incredible.
She'll probably get a BAFTA nomination.
Yeah, you can leave her low on the list. I'm okay with that, but I think it's like a Decornow fantasy for me.
Chinoya Chukwu for Till. I don't think, everything else, not going to happen.
Baz Luhrmann for Elvis. What if that got like a Golden Globe director?
I'm glad that it's competitive enough where I don't have to think about that. Original screenplay, I think, does come down to what's winning Best Picture. I guess the Fabelmans could maybe not win screenplay and still get Best Picture if they want to go for something like more dialogue-y.
That's hard for me to believe. It really is. It also has an interesting narrative because it's Tony Kushner working hand in hand with Steven Spielberg here. It would be weird if that won Best Picture without Best Screenplay. I feel like Everything Everywhere is at number one because, we just can't have it in picture and have it in not number one in screenplay. We're just being consistent. It wouldn't make any sense.
And then Tar is getting nominated. I don't know why some people think that that's not happening. Like, how would Tar not get nominated for screenplay? Like, what world would that be?
If it was even like a 9 or a 10 on the Best Picture rankings at the end of the day, which I think is as low as it could get, it still might get a screenplay nomination because the screenplay is very prominent, very sharp, very detailed, layered, sophisticated.
But it's like also getting Best Picture.
Yeah.
And Todd Field, his other 2 movies were nominated in the category.
Yeah, that would just be weird.
Babylon will probably happen unless it's bottom tier ranking, and even then it probably would just get in. Like Damien Chazelle is well-written scripts, well-written characters. We can expect that. Triangle of Sadness does seem like it could surprise.
It definitely could.
I just feel like the other movies are too easy to say that they're in there, and it really does correlate a lot with Best Picture. Maybe we could get a situation like, remember how Black Swan got snubbed for screenplay for another year?
Something big would have to get snubbed. But it could still definitely happen. I mean, that's the case for like every category in a sense. But here, it's hard to imagine something getting kicked out unless Babylon is just straight up bad.
Decision to Leave. I think even if it did get picture, it might not get screenplay. Like how they just kind of forgot about Phantom Thread in the category because it was just too crowded. And After Sun, I really don't quite believe that as a screenplay nominee, even if it were a Best Picture contender. Because to me, it's just more of a directing movie.
I feel like Till would have a shot if it was adapted, and I think it was close to being adapted.
I feel like The Menu could stir up a little bit of buzz for the script, but it's a little bit too like fun thriller, and I don't really think anything else has much of a shot here. Adapted screenplay, Women Talking, I think that looks pretty good for the win. Some people are wondering if this is a Little Women situation where it seems like, give it to Greta Gerwig for Little Women. It seems pretty easy, and then all of a sudden Jojo Rabbit comes out, and it's like me. But what would that be, really? Like, is The Whale gonna win screenplay?
Wait, why would it be a Little Women situation? Why? Because there's no other Jojo Rabbit. There's only one other nominee.
I'm just saying that
Best Picture
seemed secure at the time.
Yeah, but there's only one other nominee in Best Picture in this category.
I don't think you can say never with something like that.
What are you talking
about?
Like, I guess Glass Onion.
No, I'm just saying if they really like The Whale. Seems like too much for it to win like actor and makeup and screenplay.
Yeah, and if like, let's say, Glass Onion takes off and gets nominated for Best Picture, then we would consider that, I think. Then we might consider it.
It's not going to happen. I really just don't. I'm sorry, I don't believe in Glass Onion outside this category. I just don't see it. She said, I guess it's snubbable if they don't want the movie in Best Picture and it just isn't really that close, but it's definitely a better bet than a lot of stuff we have here. Well, and then you got A Real Basket. We struggled with this a lot last time. I don't think putting Top Gun Maverick at number 5 was necessarily the best move.
I don't think it's a terrible move. Like, it's fair for people to consider it. But now we have Pinocchio vying for Best Picture. We just put it in as number 10. That's like a fair thing to throw in there.
Pinocchio can get this only if it gets Best Picture. It has okay odds of getting Best Picture.
Do you think... Are you sure it could only get it if it gets Best Picture?
People who have seen the movie have said that.
Yeah. Do they think that it couldn't get it if it's not in Best Picture? Like, it's Inside Out.
It's not like a Pixar thing. It's not like a Pixar.
It's not a Pixar thing. Okay.
A lot of it's like a visual treat.
Okay. Some people think Living could score a bonus nomination besides for Bill Nighy.
Look, I was really, really deeply opposed to this when people started saying this. But listen, Sony Pictures Classics apparently is aware that this writer is well respected. They're like they won one of the big writing prizes, novelist, like just a well-known writer. And they can get this guy an Oscar nomination. they push it, and SPC has some sort of magic, and this movie could have that appeal to older voters that we don't quite see resonating at like critics groups and stuff. So I do think that there's definitely a path for Living. Now I kind of do buy it, especially if Bill Nighy becomes kind of in there for Best Actor.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't go without him, that's for sure.
White Noise is what a lot of people have at 5, but it really just seems like an I'm thinking of ending things type of situation where people are like, well, I guess that movie, and it's like, yeah, but it's weird and it's a little weird for them.
But you said yourself once you saw it that you thought it could get in.
Well, I'm a little biased because I love the movie.
Okay. But you still said that.
Yeah, it's writing fucking galore. And it is Noah Baumbach. Like, I think it has a better case than something as weird as I'm thinking of ending things. And I thought White Noise was surprisingly, like, a pleasing movie. And it's funny. That's the other thing, is that, like, it's got good laughs, good jokes. So I do think White Noise could get in, but a lot of people are just, like, kind of lukewarm on the movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like it might just kind of dip out of all conversation by the end of the year because there's not enough people like championing it.
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick, I don't know. I feel like no one's gonna go out of their way to like try to nominate that for writing. Really. I know it's only
what if they're just kind of down to not many options?
I mean, 1917 got nominated, so you never know. Yes. You never know.
You never know. And people like to write off certain films that are like blockbuster-y for a screenplay and then they actually get nominated.
That doesn't happen that much. I mean, you're thinking
that happened. I'm thinking of Joker and I'm thinking of Dune. And then I'm thinking of 1917.
Yeah, but what about like Mad Max and The Revenant and Gravity? Like those movies didn't get screenplay.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm just saying it sometimes happens. But also Joker and Dune were more screenplay-y than people wanted to give them credit for. Is Top Gun Maverick a screenplay-y movie?
No, this dialogue is kind of cheesy. Like,
yeah, it's cheesy, I guess.
It's just that they play the cheesiness off well, and that's the direction. Bones and All has kind of a shot in this category, I think, because a lot of people do really like it. I don't think it's an Oscar thing. Some people are probably like, why can't you put this on your Best Picture prediction somewhere? It's like, because I know it's not happening. It's a movie for letterboxed people. It's like Timothée Chalamet, Taylor Russell, like, kind of sophisticated art housey, but at the same time like very young adult. It's just not gonna be an Academy thing, okay? All Quiet on the Western Front, nah. Especially if pictured is not really that like
right.
I honestly don't want to be too dismissive of the Batman in this category because although that does seem like a movie that's only gonna get tech nominations, it would be like not that bad of a pick relative to other things. Like it is a mystery, like it did weave a mystery into the movie. Like
I'm okay with dismissing it though, because I do feel like it's too easy to just be like, no.
Yeah, but when you look at the competition, like, I don't know, you could maybe bump it up a little bit. Avatar: The Way of Water also is probably not, I mean, well,
was the first one nominated?
No.
Okay, then they'd probably leave it out. That alone is enough for me to say they'd probably leave it out.
You were considering it in the context of this weaker category.
You could put it above All Quiet and The Batman and Bones and All. You could put it right below Top Gun Maverick.
The Pale Blue Eye mystery coming out right at the end of the year. Like maybe it gets like kind of close, gets a little bit of buzz, but I don't really think that's going to happen. The Sun is pretty dead. We didn't even talk about that in picture, but like, come on. That movie's in the 40s on Rotten Tomatoes. Got trashed.
Goodbye.
Spoiler alert. That would be kind of weird, but that is a movie that hasn't come out yet. You know, last time we did the predictions, I was like, oh, what about Jim Parsons or spoiler alert? And I saw the trailer and I was like, that's not what this is. That's just not what this is. Same with the A Man Called Otto trailer. I thought, no, don't think so.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. When will your screenplay be nominated?